Hello, I'm very happy to introduce you to our guest with whom I'm going to have a one-on-one. My friend Anish Sarkar. Anish is the CEO of Sodexo, Benefits and Reward Services, that is BRS. He's been with Sodexo since 2019. He's responsible for the merger with technology partner Zeta. And before joining Sodexo, Anish spent about 4 years as a CEO of Mercer India. So please join me in welcoming Anish, and over to my first question to you, Anish. How do you think 2020 has changed the digital payment, the entire scenario for the common citizens of India, whether they are living in the rural villages or they are living in the urban cities? And 2020 has definitely been considered to be very disruptive for what it has brought along with it. And in the last 9 months, I'm sure you must have noticed quite a few changes, especially related to digital payments. So what are your reactions to it?
Hi, Nasir. First of all, I'm really pleased and excited to be part of this session on obviously a very important topic. In response to your question, I would say that if there is one silver lining in this COVID cloud, certainly in India, it is this massive acceleration of digital payments during these past few months. And I think we've seen that this, fear of handling cash combined with, the logistical challenges that the lockdown has put in front of all of us has actually forced all segments of our society across the country, big cities, villages, tier 2, tier 3 cities, to adopt digital payments at a never seen before pace.
Easily leads me to ask you the next question, which is again related, uh, especially now with uh, the governance around this entire digital payment and the growth which is coming along with it. There are so many different areas in which digital payment is currently getting accepted, adopted. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. As you said, today digital payments, I mean, you can make a digital payment for practically anything. Okay. And honestly, in my view, there's not that many green spaces left yet. I mean, today you can even buy a car digitally. And of course, in these last few months, those remaining green spaces are getting rapidly occupied. I think the key point is how fast, the volumes will grow. And, we have, of course, seen an exponential jump in the past few months. But even if I just take mobile payments, which is, by the way, just one part of the entire digital payments ecosystem, I think it's even in the next 5 years, it's expected to grow exponentially at maybe over 60% per year. And this is a paradigm shift. And, you mentioned what's the impact on governance, what's the growth. I want to talk about one specific point, which is the impact on the banking industry. You see the way fintech is exploding, and we know that as a country we are grossly underbanked. Of course, the government has been doing a lot through the Jan Dhan scheme, etc. But let's face it, we're a grossly underbanked country. And my view is that fintech, and with this massive explosion in digital payments, the fintech industry or the fintech players will take up a lot of that growth headroom that is there. And I think there's going to be a big impact on banking, and of course that's a big question mark for the regulator to handle how all these various entities in the financial services space manage and address the consumer's needs. For example, I see that maybe in a few years, the bank branch that we are all so familiar with may become extinct because there will be no need for a consumer to go to a bank to do anything. And actually, even banks are now starting to move fully digital because they clearly realize that maybe the older systems, the older approach to at least consumer banking is not going to work anymore. The other thing that I see happening because of this paradigm shift, as it were, you have personal banking, right, or private banking, which typically today is something that, high net worth individuals or a few people have access to. But as we go ahead, consumer banking and managing our finances will be at the click of a button or maybe a few buttons on your app. So the personalization of consumer banking will not be the privilege of a select few. It will be available to all of us. It will be available to everyone. I just want to give you again on this, in the this change in the paradigm, an example from Sodexo. For many years, and as I said, for 2 decades or more, we used to largely offer meal cards or the meal benefit to our corporate employees. But in the last year and a half, we have now expanded that to have a completely digital multi-benefit platform, which basically means that our clients can offer their employees not just meal or a gift card, but everything from fuel or conveyance or or a gadget allowance, right up to something like health and wellness or even learning and development. And as a CHRO, this will be interesting also for you to reflect on, or the HR community to reflect on. Imagine telling your employee that I have a platform where you can actually spend your own money and personalize your own training need and just do it all digitally. And all this, in fact, in this work from home scenario, which this COVID lockdown has brought upon us, is absolutely all the more relevant.
Hello, I'm very happy to introduce Varun, with whom I'm going to have a one-on-one. Varun Sridhar is the CEO of Paytm Money. And before this, Varun has worked with Finchel as their CEO, which is an Oppo Group company. And earlier to that, for about 7 years and 8 months at BNP Paribas. I'm very happy to have you, Varun. And to you, my first question is essentially in the entire proliferation that we are seeing in the digital payment space. What are some of the major challenges for newer players? And then, it's come up so very fast that although there are players like MasterCard and Visa who've been here for a very long period of time, they're giants in that space. So from that perspective, and also a lot of newer players coming in, so what is the competitive edge that is required? So over to you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Nasir, and happy to be here. I think a couple of, before we get into what are the challenges, I think it's good to understand what are the trends, right? Why is something happening? And obviously, I think the old mobile story saying mobiles have proliferated is now old. What's actually happened is mobile earlier was a hardware. Now you have a lot of software on top of mobiles, which make it much more amenable, much more useful, many more use cases are getting solved faster and faster and faster, because now somebody makes an app which solves a particular use case, right? So for example, customized t-shirts, which is a very big thing normally, and you can't go and get customized t-shirts. If somebody puts an app and makes it digital, all of a sudden there is a use case coming up for it. Right now, earlier for some of these things, everything was disintermediated. Now the disintermediation has only gone up millions of times because there are millions of small startups and houses putting up millions of small ideas and are able to break even / build a business with 500,000 odd customers, right? So when you start to look at it like that, what essentially is happening in the world is the ability for a use case for a very small part of life. Like let's take the example of agroponic farming, right? There's aquaponic farming, sorry. There's a very nice firm in Bangalore which runs a very, very small boutique farm and serves vegetables to home. Now that small shop earlier would have not been successful, but all of a sudden you have this company as a startup running and being able to deliver. So those use cases are now in millions. And because of that, because of obviously mobile, the consumer segment, what's happened to people is people are now saying, hey, let me download an app and get it going. And I think before we get to payments, it's very important to understand how human psychology is changing. Because human psychology is moving from what we would call a human life, or the way you and me live, is changing from I would go to one place or to somebody to actually going down to a Play Store, downloading something and fulfilling your life with that. And the amount of time, energy, budget of fulfillment of that is far higher than what was before. So if you start thinking about that, digital payments, therefore, is feeding of that new change or that new society, right? So all the way from dating, transport, ticketing, you name it, everything has changed, including financial services, right? So that's the growth. Now, what are the challenges for a new player or an existing incumbent? The challenge is earlier you would make money off a 10,000 rupee transaction. Now you need to learn to make money off a 5 rupee transaction, because a customer is using a transaction rate to do a very, very small transaction, but his frequency has gone up. Because all these use cases that are there psychologically for him, he does not want to pay more than 110 rupees to buy a subscription plan on green spinach, right? But that's the amount of customization that's happening in the world. So the larger incumbents who've done a lot of infrastructure, a lot of old ways of working, are not adept today. So if you're a young entrant coming in and you're thinking, hey, how can I build a digital payment business? I think there are three key rules, right? First rule is solve something, right? What are you solving for? If you're just going to do me too, it's not going to work because existing players are far too ahead. So solve something. Are you going to solve a consumer problem? Are you going to solve a OTP problem, a password problem, a language problem, a network problem? What are you going to solve, right? And I think that's the common question that you need to ask any new entry. I think the second question is how are you going to get scale? This is a business now where scale is important because the transaction margins are so thin that you literally need to run a low cost, high scale business, right? You're not even you're feeding off triple decimal profits. So when you're per transaction, you're talking in 3 decimals or 4 decimals, you're now in a very, very different league, and scale there is important. So what are you getting into? Is it scalable? Is it able to give you a moat, right? So if you look at Paytm, our moat is payments. And around payments, you've built 50 plus businesses. And when you build 50 plus businesses, and I'll give you an example, right? So when we started our mutual funds business, it was something we were trying to solve. Across India, mutual funds, if you had 1,000 rupees, who would take it? Today, 2 years after launch, we are India's #1 mutual fund service provider. And we have customers from 99% of PIN codes in India who have been able to transact in the 6.5 million of those people with 100 rupee SIP. The fact is that's happened because the payment rails could solve a specific use case. So we need to start thinking like that and start thinking, what is the scale? And the last thing I think is gone are the days where for a new entrant, you could come in without technology innovation, without merging what I call the science of EQ, DQ, TQ, right? So technology quotient, data quotient, and your emotional quotient or the business quotient. So you take a consumer, you take technology, and you take data. If you're not able to marry the three, and obviously there is FQ, which is financial quotient. If you're not able to marry all these things together and make something beautiful, you'll anyway fail. So I think for a new startup coming in, you have to start thinking of these three things very early, or a new player in the payments ecosystem.
Hello, so I'm very happy to introduce our guest today with whom I'm going to have a one-on-one. It's Bhupesh Daheria. Bhupesh is an education technology futurist, serial entrepreneur, educator, and a prolific speaker that I have known for several years. He's the CEO of Aegis School of Data Science and Cybersecurity. So please join me in welcoming Bhupesh, to whom I'm just about to ask the first question for today. Looking at this entire topic, which is so large, right? I mean, digital payment, and to make it contextual, given your background, how is AI, data science, machine learning playing a role in digital payment? And for people who are coming in here who are supporting this entire industry, so what are your thoughts around that?
I think this whole digital payment has completely democratized the way the payment is being done, right? Because there are millions of people, those who are unbanked here in India and in fact worldwide. Digital payment is paving a path towards that. Now, once we are moving away from human intelligence, right? Human interface, where the payments are being digitally. And traditionally, humans were handling this whole transaction, right? So if you remember your childhood days, Nasir, we used to visit bank and we used to draw money, right? And those were the days, right? And we used to really rely upon human intelligence on any kind of transaction which is happening. Now, all of a sudden, from few million to like billions of people have started doing transaction, and you cannot really, of course, put millions of manpower to really handle that, handling physical cash or ensuring whether it is Nasir or somebody else who's withdrawing the payment. You require some level of artificial intelligence, right? You require some level of digitization of the whole process, right? So there are two ways, right? You can really build systems which are rule-based, right? That okay, you will enter your user ID, password, right? And but how about use your user ID, password to do the transaction? Maybe a hacker or somebody else. And that's where you require these digital systems to become much more intelligent, just like a human being, right? So imagine that even if you wear a mask, since I have interacted with you so many times, I will be able to really identify based on your voice, based on your gesture, the way you really talk, whether it is Nasir or not. Now, can we really codify this on digital world, right? And that's where the artificial intelligence and data science is coming in a big way.
I think somewhere it touches on the subject of cybersecurity while we were talking about, scams and frauds and detection, early detection, and all of that. So, why cybersecurity is important for the success of digital payments, and how is it currently being used in the existing scenario wherever the digital payment and transactions are happening. So, any insight into that?
Yeah, so if we see cybersecurity were always important, but in last 10 years since this India stack has come, and India stack has really brought in 4 new concepts, which is basically say presence-less, which is paperless, right, which is cashless, and which is consentless, right, layers. So these 4 layers which has brought in into the Indian ecosystem, and what it means that everything has gone digital. And once you go digital, it increases vulnerability, right? Because everything is not now in the physical currency, everything has become digits, right? Zeros and ones. Whenever I stay in some hotel, I don't use the public Wi-Fi of hotel, right? I typically set up my own hotspot and try to connect my laptop instead of using it, because that channel is unsecure channel, and anybody who's sitting in the lobby there can really decrypt and can really hack into the stuff. Uh, so cybersecurity has become very important, that you need to really secure your application, you need to secure your data, you need to secure your cloud, you need to secure your network. And that's where it becomes extremely difficult for human being to really take care of all those aspects.
So with that, I conclude. Thank you very much for your time today.